On the year I turned 50, I saw the man who once swore to spend his life with me. He was sitting in a restaurant, dining tenderly with his wife and son. That was when I learned the truth. For 28 years, I had been the other man, the male mistress, the one hidden in the dark while he played the role of devoted husband and father. A picture-perfect double life. Those weekly business trips, just convenient getaways to his real family. When I confronted him, he frowned, his voice cold. "You're the one who bent me. You ruined my future. I never wanted to get married, but carrying on the family name, that's something I couldn't escape. In the next life, I refused to be a joke." Given that second chance, I carefully orchestrated every moment to avoid him. Every glance, every encounter, every word. So when he finally grabbed my arm in panic, eyes wild and trembling, and cried, "You're the one I love," I only smiled, calm and steady. "I've never met you. Who are you?" I was reborn in my sophomore year of college. In my previous life, I had died suddenly. Cardiac arrest, the doctor said. Years of stress, exhaustion, and silent suffering had worn my heart down. I died sitting alone in my office, slumped over a cold cup of coffee, still drafting a proposal for the next quarter's funding. No one was there beside me. No one noticed until much, much later. But this time, I came back. When I opened my eyes again, I was staring into the reflection of my younger self in the mirror. Youthful skin, steady breath, life rushing through my veins. "Charlie Baker, you okay in there?" My roommate's voice came through the bathroom door, full of concern. I splashed cold water on my face, forcing myself to calm down. "I'm fine. Hurry up. The game's starting soon. If we don't go now, we'll miss the good seats," he urged. And then I remembered. Today was the day I first met Tim Taylor, the beginning of all my tragedies. Pain rippled through my chest. I clenched my teeth and steadied my voice. "My stomach hurts. I think I'll pass. You go ahead." He hesitated, but the lure of basketball won out. When the door finally shut, I slumped against the wall, drained, staring up at the ceiling. My mind flooded with memories of Tim. Tim at 48, towering over me, brow furrowed, voice sharp. "Charlie Baker, you're getting more unreasonable by the day. We're not young anymore. Let's be honest. I didn't marry her out of love, but I need children. That's just how it is. You can't give me that." His cruel bluntness had made my eyes sting. "But you said." That was then. "We live in society, Charlie. How do you think people see me? A man in his 50s with no kids? How would I keep my job? And besides," his face twisted with impatience, "you bet me back then. Do you even know how many opportunities one lost? Now I can't even have a child. You're selfish, Charlie." I had whispered, weak and broken. "You could have just told me. We could have broken up. I wouldn't have stopped you from living a normal life. But doing this? Enough, Charlie. Don't be naive. Let's just pretend none of this ever happened. I'll still take care of you." He had walked away, slamming the door, and in that moment I saw him clearly. The boy who once gazed at me with untainted love was gone. Time had aged his face, but it had also rotted what was inside. The sound of dripping water snapped me out of my thoughts. I looked at my pale reflection and gave a bitter smile. "Tim, you once said I was the one who bent you. Well then, now that heaven has given me another chance, this time I'll make sure we never meet again. Let's set each other free." It wasn't until the second day after my rebirth that it began to feel real. Back in my college classroom, I felt young again. My body light, my mind sharp. After a lecture ended, the four of us walked back to the dorm together. "I don't know why," our chubby roommate said thoughtfully, "but Charlie, you seem calmer these days. Like an old government official." Another chimed in dramatically. "Even the way he looks at us, it's got this fatherly glow." "Of course he does," someone laughed. "Charlie brings us food every day. He's basically our dorm dad." I chuckled, but out of the corner of my eye I saw someone hurry past, bumping me hard. He muttered a quick apology, head down, before disappearing ahead. "Hey, what's with him?" Chubby shouted. "Charlie, you okay?" "I'm fine." I frowned as I watched the tall, lean figure vanish into the crowd. Something about him felt familiar. "You're still looking?" Chubby clapped my shoulder. "What, you want us to beat him up? We could catch him." I laughed softly. "No. It's just his silhouette seemed familiar." Chubby squinted. "Now that you say it, yeah. He had that lone wolf vibe." "Wait, wasn't that the genius kid from the physics department?" "Yeah," another said. "That's him. Andrew Miller. He's in our year, but 3 years younger. Gifted program, already doing a combined bachelor's and master's. The name exploded in my mind like thunder. I spun around to look for him, but he was gone. You know him? Someone asked. No, I don't. But I had heard of him in my past life. Andrew Miller, the genius, who would one day take his own life. That night I dreamed. I dreamed of what happened after I died, in that other life. My body lay unclaimed in the hospital morgue for 3 days. The police called Tim, but he hung up impatiently every time. Tell Charlie to cut the crap. He's not a kid anymore. If he's broke, just tell him to come home. They reached out to my parents, but after I came out to them, we had severed all ties. Both had started new families. The moment the officer mentioned my name, they hung up without hesitation. One of the officers stared at my photo in the file and murmured, "He seemed like a decent person. Why wouldn't anyone claim his body floating beside hers?" I stared at the same photo again, my ID picture from when I was 34, smiling, soft-eyed, still carrying the faint glow of someone who had once believed in happiness. I knew she couldn't hear me, but I replied anyway, because the man who had died was blind in both eyes and in heart. Check again. See if he has any other emergency contacts, another officer said. They searched for a while before finally reaching an old college friend of mine. Chubby came to claim my body. He was no longer little, chubby, he was older now. He stared down at the white sheet covering my lifeless form and took 2 long drags from his cigarette. Would you like to see him one last time? A staff member asked. No need. Just go ahead with the cremation. I'll cover the cost. Old Chubby shook his head. He never even got to see the ocean. My wife's headed up there soon. I guess I'll bring him along for the trip. With that, he turned and walked out of the funeral home. Sitting on the steps, he smoked 3 more cigarettes before finally noticing Tim rushing over, looking panicked. Where's Charlie? Even with age and status etched on his face, Tim's arrogance hadn't faded. What is this? Some elaborate performance just to mess with me? Seriously, how bored do you have to be? Old Chubby crushed his cigarette underfoot and looked up. I've got insurance, you bastard. With a swing, his punch landed hard. Tim staggered. Are you out of your damn mind? He spat blood and snarled. Old Chubby sneered. Take a good look at the name on that certificate. I didn't come here to play games with you. Charlie, where's Charlie? Only then did Tim realize I was really gone. Half his face already swollen, he stammered. He's okay, right? He's fine. Just turned to ashes, Old Chubby said calm. Lucky, he didn't have to see you again. Saved his eyes the trouble. And just like that, my dream froze on the image of Tim running into the crematorium. Skipping the game today? Chubby asked again, checking. I rubbed my eyes, still drowsy from the storm of dreams. There's an open lecture at West Campus I wanted to see. Thought I'd check it out. Ever since my rebirth, I had avoided everything that might lead me to Tim. Basketball games were at the top of that list. Without them, I had more free time, and I filled it by attending lectures across campus. That day, when I stepped into the tiered lecture hall, I spotted a familiar figure curled up in a corner seat like a black mushroom. Andrew Miller, the genius kid Chubby had mentioned. I'd looked him up on the school forum. Brilliant, striking, distant, solitary. Someone who lived in his own world. People with worlds like that usually had hearts strong enough to survive anything. I blinked and walked over. Is this seat taken? He was scribbling equations on a scrap of paper with intense focus. Only when I sat down did he look up, dark tousled hair framing sharp, narrow phoenix eyes, a straight nose, a small beauty mark, strong brows, handsome, almost aggressively so. For a second, I froze. He shook his head and returned to his work, every digit precise, every line orderly. I didn't understand the math, but I could tell it was his universe. Why are you staring at me? A quiet, hoarse voice asked. He looked up again, dark eyes piercing like a wary animal. His tone was blunt, guarded. I smiled. I like you. I wanted to be friends. His brows furrowed, scanning me like a predator, sizing up prey. His Adam's apple bobbed. Something flickered, surprise, doubt. Then he lowered his gaze as if making a painful decision. Okay, he said. I blinked. If you're uncomfortable, it's okay to say no. You're my friend now. He placed his left hand over mine, resting on the desk. Dry, warm. I'm Andrew Miller. And you? A faint heat crept across my face. Just as I was about to continue, a familiar voice reached me. Why didn't you go to the game today? Felt like coming to a lecture? Even without turning, I knew it. Tim. What was he doing here? The world seemed to still. I could hear him laughing with friends, then settling into the seat behind me. Even in this new life, I hadn't seen him face to face, but the memory of him rose unbidden. Tall, handsome, sunlight in human form. His love had once scorched me, honest, real. I remembered the first basketball game I'd attended. He had seen me frozen in place, got hit in the face with a ball, and dramatically ended up injured. Later, he'd confessed he'd never liked men before. But the moment he saw me, his heart skipped a beat. It was me who bent him. Once a line of confession, now a weapon of blame. If it weren't for you, I could have fallen in love with a woman and lived a normal life. Instead of sneaking around like some shameful secret. Why couldn't you have been a woman? What's so wrong with wanting a child? I had never doubted that he loved me in college. He had held me tight and whispered that love could overcome anything. But sincerity doesn't last forever. Not when society steps in and temptation becomes endless. In the early days of our careers, life had been tough. We had shared a damp, dimly lit apartment, clinging to each other on a narrow bed. He whispered dreams into my ear, one beautiful vision after another. Later, those dreams came true, but their flavor had already changed. Good for you, Tim. This time, we don't have to torment each other anymore. Hey, I forgot my pen. Got a spare? I heard behind me. Nope, someone replied. Then a warm touch brushed my spine like a butterfly. Fleeting. Tim had poked me. Hi, excuse me, he said. Do you have an extra pen? My brows furrowed instinctively. A deep, physical revulsion bubbled up from within. I straightened my back and subtly leaned away from him. Without turning, I said in a low voice, No. What was that? He leaned forward, as if he hadn't heard me clearly, moving closer. That familiar scent wrapped around me. Laundry detergent, lavender. He'd always been consistent about certain things. Lavender detergent, the smell of sun-baked bedding. I pressed my lips together, forcing myself to recall the truth from my past life. My boyfriend says he doesn't have a pen either. Just borrow one from someone else. Andrew's voice chimed in, cutting through the awkwardness on my behalf, though the excuse he chose was a little embarrassing. I shook my head in resignation. Boyfriend? Tim's tone twisted oddly as he lingered on the word, clearly waiting for me to deny it. But I didn't. Yeah, Andrew finally answered for me. Sorry, Tim mumbled after a pause. Andrew's voice was flat, decisive. That ended the conversation. Then Andrew glanced at my hand again and gently guided it back over his left hand, just as before. Only then did he seem satisfied. Liking men is kinda gross, I heard Tim mutter under his breath. And just like that, a fire roared up in me before Andrew could react. I spun around sharply, glaring at Tim coldly. Do you live by the ocean or something? Why are you sticking your nose in everyone's business, telling the sky how to shine and the earth how to spin? And now policing who people like? Someone could be into fighter jets for all it matters. It's none of your damn business. Apologize. Andrew's thick brows lowered, eyes darkening with a dangerous glint. He didn't speak. His classmate nudged him, but he didn't react. Then he suddenly stood, grabbed him by the collar. Come outside. You putting on a show for your mommy, or what? Tim's temper flared as well, trying to slap Andrew's hand away. Two handsome, hot-blooded college guys about to throw down in class quickly drew everyone's attention. I stood, my voice low but firm. I'm fine. The professor's about to arrive. Andrew looked at me from under dark bangs, eyes fixed on mine for a second. Then reluctantly, he pressed his lips together and released him, who sank back into his seat. Tim still looked like he wanted to argue, but the bell rang, and the professor walked in. The classroom quieted immediately. My mind began to drift, regret creeping in over my impulsiveness. If I had just ignored him, none of this would have happened. Still, having someone 3 years younger, who had just met me, stand up for me, it felt strangely comforting. I glanced at Andrew. The hostility in his features was gone. Calm, serious, immersed in the numbers filling his scratch paper. I might have imagined it, but the hand gripping his pen looked tight, knuckles pale. No matter how I looked at him, he didn't seem like someone who would end up taking his own life. I remembered exactly when he had passed away in my previous life. At a college reunion, someone had mentioned it in passing, pitying the young genius whose life ended too soon. It had happened during the same week as my 6-year anniversary with Tim. Tim swirled his wine glass, that unreadable smile at the corner of his lips. After everyone finished talking, he'd hazily commented, "Yeah, real shame." During the break between lectures, Andrew pulled me out of the tiered classroom. "What's wrong? You're not staying?" I blinked. "To be honest, I don't really care either way. I attended out of interest." Andrew shook his head. "Already self-studied it. No need to stay." "Then why did you come today?" I didn't ask. I felt like I'd be exposing him unnecessarily. "Sorry, Charlie," he said quietly. The excuse I'd given earlier hadn't been good. "It's fine. I don't mind. I'll head back to the dorm." What a lousy day. I still ended up seeing Tim, and on top of that, all that unpleasantness happened. I should have just stayed in. Andrew pressed his lips together and looked straight at me. "We don't have each other's contact yet, Charlie." "Oh, right." I smiled, pulling out my phone. "Here, you can add me." After I connected on the app, I noticed Andrew's profile picture, a wrapper from a White Rabbit candy. A strange choice, but for some reason it felt familiar. I frowned. I'd seen it somewhere in my last life, but I couldn't place it. "Well, I'll get going," I said, shaking my head and letting it go. I waved lightly. "Goodbye, Charlie," he said seriously. His smile gave me a strange feeling, longing, nostalgia, or an aching tenderness I couldn't name. Like this might be the last time he'd see me. I turned and walked away. Only after I disappeared did Andrew rub his sore eyes and leave, head down. Since I'd been given a second chance, I wasn't going to avoid repeating the past. I was going to chase the dreams I had abandoned in my previous life because of one sentence from Tim. I had given up a doctoral opportunity for my advisor, stayed behind to build a startup from scratch. I had bled for it countless times. In business, the real battle wasn't hangovers or drinking blood. It was whether you could close the deal and walk away with something to show for it. Eventually, the company we built became a rising star. But I had regrets. One of the biggest, my dream to develop cutting-edge microchips. A missed dream is just that, a missed dream. Now, the heavens had handed me another chance. This time, I was going to grab fate by her hair and never let go. Even with memories from my past life, there were countless things I needed to prepare in advance. My schedule was packed. Only after completing the day's tasks did I finally open my phone. The chat window was empty, paused on an old sticker he had sent weeks ago, an adorable pink kitten paw. Even though Andrew and I were connected, we had little in common. Hesitant, I typed anyway. "Are you there?" "I'm here," he replied instantly. "Push." "I came from the future," Tim shouted, a voice that spanned from our university years to our 50s. "We were in love. We built a life together, a career, a home. You were happy with me. But Andrew, he's nothing. Just some creep lurking in the shadows, secretly texting you. He's a lunatic, a psycho, a walking curse. He's doomed to die young. He'll ruin you." I straightened and turned to face him, expression calm. Hope flickered in Tim's eyes again. He reached toward me. "Charlie? Charlie, come with me. I'll protect you." Andrew didn't move. His hands trembled at his sides as he watched silently. I stopped in front of Tim, raised my hand, and slapped him. "Forget pretending, Tim. You ruined my past life. Are you here to ruin this one too? You got me killed. And now you show up acting all devoted. What for? You're alive and well. So, what do you want from me now? You're the one who said liking men was disgusting. You wanted a normal family, remember? So, why are you crawling back like this?" My chest throbbed with dull pain. It wasn't about what others did. Tim, deep down, was just a terrible person. The day I died, I had been drafting a message. I didn't know if his wife knew about me, but she deserved to know if she had been kept in the dark and used as a cover, just as I had been. She was no better off than me. Looking straight into Tim's panicked eyes, I said, "You're the one who ruined me. You're the one who killed me. You've ruined so many people. Don't you get it yet, Tim? You're not just disgusting. You're a hypocrite." Then I grabbed Andrew's hand, and we walked away. Tim collapsed to his knees, but didn't try to stop us. We walked for a long time in silence. Finally, I spoke. "I don't know why you like me, Andrew, but maybe don't. I'm really not that great. I'm not who you imagine me to be." He turned his head, gazing into the golden twilight, anywhere but at me. After a long pause, he said softly, "I've liked you for over 10 years. It was a love impossible to stop." "I can't be with you right now," I said. "Are you still going to keep waiting?" "I'm good at waiting," Andrew replied, his clear eyes meeting mine, sincere and unwavering. "I always imagined loving you quietly from the shadows. That would have been enough." "Don't," I murmured with a faint sigh. That would make me the bad guy, leaving you to pine for me all those years. You're not bad, Andrew, I added. He turned to look at me. I'm soft and steady, Charlie. You're the kindest, most beautiful person I've ever met. I want to give you everything good in this world, even if you never love me back. Idiot, I whispered, voice tangled with emotion, bitter and tender. In my past life, he had hidden it so well, not even at the very end. But looking back now, his love had always been there. The white rabbit candy on my desk in high school, the umbrella that appeared out of nowhere when it rained, the hooded boy who silently walked with me at night, the restaurant that somehow always had a seat for me, the anonymous account that always answered my questions online. He had been walking beside me for so long. I had another dream, the second since my rebirth. This time, I saw it all from Andrew's perspective, how he had endured a lifetime of loneliness. His mother had a twisted need for control, afraid he would leave her quietly like his father had. She chained him to the house from childhood. Every day, verbal abuse, blows, fleeting moments of affection, pitiful sobbing. One day, his mother had to attend an event. No choice but to take him outside. He curled up in a corner, withdrawn, silently watching passers-by with dark, guarded eyes. What a cute kid. Why are you sitting here? A young version of me approached, smiling with bright eyes. I pulled out a white rabbit candy. Here, have some. Back then, Andrew couldn't speak. He only made soft sounds, nervously clutching the hem of his shirt, too timid to take the candy. Then my parents called. I hurriedly stuffed a handful of candies into his hands. Bye-bye, I said, running off. Little Andrew didn't eat the candies, but kept them under his pillow until they melted, clinging to the moment a little longer. He knew something was wrong with him, a mental illness. But after that childhood, how could he not be ill? Even the scent of those candies calmed him. Later, his mother vanished. The government and community stepped in to fund his schooling. He chased after me, using academic excellence to get into my middle school. But high school was restricted to low-income students. Every Sunday, he finished homework in advance. Then, during the last 2 study periods, he would ask for leave, walk from school number 3 to number 1, hiding behind trees to watch me finish class. He was a silent admirer, a knight in the dark. Once Tim noticed, Andrew saw me less and less, especially after graduation. Many times he sat in his car, watching Tim, wanting to slam the gas, but he held back. Eventually, his illness returned. He hadn't seen me in almost 6 months. Andrew started dry heaving, fingers trembling. He sent a desperate message. Andrew, 189 centimeters. No bad habits. Total assets, 8.5. Willing to be your side lover or your dog. I just want to see you again. Please consider me. I'm begging you. The young man curled up on the sofa, surrounded by white rabbit candies, staring into the darkness. His eyes fixed on the phone, fingers twitching uncontrollably. Then he received a reply from me. Is that so, Andrew? There is one thing you could help me with. What is it? Go die, Andrew. The world would be cleaner without you. Tim told me everything. You're disgusting. I never wrote that message. I didn't even know it happened. So, it could have only come from one person. Tim. I wanted to tell Andrew, but it was just a dream. He couldn't hear me that night, trapped in a storm of wind and rain. He dragged himself to the rooftop of his company. The wind tore at his clothes, exposing the spines so thin it was practically bones. He spread his arms. No one knew whether the water on his face was rain or tears. And just like that, he jumped. I tried to grab him, but my hands passed right through. After his death, his soul never left me. He stayed by my side, watching me sit on the floor crying. He squatted nearby, hands cupped beneath my eyes, trying to catch the tears before they could fall. Even though he knew I couldn't hear him, he still whispered, Charlie, don't cry. He's not worth it, Charlie. Too bad I can't come to you in a dream. I left all my money to you, Charlie, he murmured. Seeing you like this hurts me so much. After I was hit by the car, he knelt at my side. It's all my fault. I died because of my illness. I couldn't protect you. If I could do it all over again, I'd trade all my luck, my future, everything, for one more chance at life, for you, Charlie. And in the end, I heard it. A distant sigh in the sky above. Time went on. The pain of the past faded into mist. I finally got into the PhD program I had always wanted. I graduated. I went on to the research institute of my dreams. This time, Andrew wasn't just a shadow. He was by my side for every major milestone. While Tim had become the one hiding in the shadows, one rainy day, I looked down at the umbrella that had silently appeared at my feet. I knew it had come from the thin figure crouched in the corner, watching, expressionless. I kicked the umbrella aside and stepped into the rain. A black car pulled up. Andrew stepped out, opened a black umbrella, and walked quickly toward me. He glanced briefly at the umbrella near my foot and gave a quiet laugh. "Let's go." I nodded and stepped beneath his umbrella. He tilted it completely toward me, without hesitation. Moments passed, and his left shoulder was soaked through as we walked toward the car. Suddenly, I said, "Oh, by the way, I've decided." "Decided what?" he asked, pausing mid-step, sighing deeply. I smiled. "I've decided. You win. You've successfully chased me down." My last relationship had been messy and painful. I wasn't going to let that kill my courage to love again. In every relationship, I would still be brave, still sincere, still take full responsibility for my love. And in the middle of the storm, for the first time, I truly felt like I had let go. I had cleared out the old, swept the room clean, and was ready to welcome someone new. We held each other tightly in a rain. Andrew, overjoyed, whispered, low and raspy like waves washing over hidden reefs, "I'm never letting you go again." I looked toward the corner. There in the dark, a pair of bloodshot, grief-stricken eyes stared back at me. I smiled softly and said, blandly, "I was hoping you'd say that."